Welcome to Ravens Over. Please go to my channel or hit the notification bell, like this video and share. This article I'm going to share with y'all. Remember, there's a lot of trans men and trans women that has not even been reported, that I know that they don't have. And I want to share this article with you to show the importance it is of me and others trying to keep our sisters alive. Share this video every weekend. It is reported that 350 transgender people killed in 2020. They were murdered, suffocated, and burned alive. 350 transgender people killed in the year of 2020, in a figure that has risen since the last year total of 331. So it's being stated that 331 since they told that, but like I said before, it's way more than that. The annual global list released on Transgender Day of Remembrance held in November the 20th each year. The list shows that the year average age was killed with 31. Now we know it's older, with the youngest being only 15. Now we know I've reported people been killed over 31. So we know there's way more than ages of 31. While 50% of transgender people were murdered and killed inside of their own home, 22% of transgender people were killed inside their own home. Y'all hear that part? The majority of murders happened in Central and South America, totaling 287 last year, and the most deaths in a single country happened in Brazil, totaling 43% of global deaths, 152 people. We already know Brazil, they kill a lot. And once again, the numbers are not accurate. It's way high. In some countries, they were killed and murdered, and they tried to molest children to get other people to sign on to say it was a child molest, and it was not that. But they want to find comfort in the killing of an innocent person, so they put a stamp on that, and knowing that was not accurate. But a lot of people don't do research. People feel as though this is accurate, and it was not accurate. They were living their life. They were murdered for being in their truth. Let me go back to the article. Mexico was the next 57%. The United States sits a report of 28% who Human Rights Campaign who compelled a separate list. U.S. total 37 this year so far. We already know that number is not accurate. The reason of disparity due to reports accounting Puerto Rico as part of Central America, South America regions, and HRC counted the cases of U.S. for the most violent year since HRC recorded began a human rights organization calling the epidemic of violence, but further humbling the critical part of context these figures must be viewed in, and the death total is likely on the tip of the iceberg. The list compelled the trans respect transphobia worldwide. The sources local and national news covering the deaths and murders. The U.S. is parachute capturing Chinese output. The violence and horror of the murders where transgender people burned alive and suffocated and burned, cataloged by a project which also has full list all these killed that year, 2020. But because of the hate crimes and murdering go unreported, a crucial misreported in the media, a true number of deaths could be even far higher, which I just stated to y'all. Meanwhile, the latter half of the data covers in the time while it's the COVID-19 pandemic hitting the lives of LGBT people. In times of crisis, the living in the margin, suffering is the most reported and exposed for the local hotels. It says that the impact of COVID-19 is being felt most severely by transgender people who are homeless, sex workers, disabled migrants, refuge, asylum seekers, poor, and elderly. These communities are not only affected by the virus itself, also healthcare system and providing well care for systematic as political impact on the pandemic. At the same time, we're noticing that some government using the pandemic as an excuse to violating human rights and a sign of the worst by the wide range of political legal rollbacks on leading towards most systematic discrimination against transgender people around the world. The report released annual of March Transgender Day of Remembrance. The global list as a part of the annual reports leads it as a mark of International Transgender Day of Remembrance held annually on November the 20th, compelled the Trans Respect versus Transphobia Worldwide. Since 2008, trans murder monitoring reports has been recorded homicide that happen every year between the dates of October the 1st and September the 30th. Since the project began 12 years ago, they have reported 3,664 deaths a year. The numbers of deaths has risen since 2019 to 331 to 350 this year. Although the data must be viewed in context of being the tip of the iceberg, reported author noticed that there are alarming upwards trends throughout the data of 2008 to 2020, behind the statistic representing a number of percentages that are people whose lives were valued and who are social failed and protection reports. It says at the site, it sits along with the global recession of trans rights in countries Hungary and Poland seeking shifts during the pandemic toward the anti-LGBTQ politics and rhetoric. The UK pandemic transphobia hate crime reports that the tripled over the past year, and the U.S. Human Rights Campaign says that the most violent against transgender people were never even reported. And some were never even reported. Also have been ever. Trans people have ever recorded. They've ever recorded. Trans people are most vulnerable, accounted to the 98% of the murder within a figure of this year. It's clear that with a diverse array of different gender, diverse transgender people all over the world, some are more vulnerable than others. Since trans murders monitoring projects began in 2008, 60% of the deaths has been sex worker community. In Europe, in 11 recorded murders this year, half of them were migrants, while in U.S. 79% of the recorded murders by the reports on trans women of color. The overwhelming trend showed that trans women of color are most vulnerable. 98% of the murders this year, trans women and trans female people. This stories was found over the years and across the world share the horrific details of homicide, hangings, and even lynching of trans people, gender diverse people, stigma, discrimination, and a wide range of violence overlap. Depression, society, racism, sexism, misogyny, phobia, anti-sex worker, and discrimination reported, the spokesperson said. Now, proof being prevalent to trans women of color, often sex workers being murdered. Now it's saying that the day of remembrance, the day in which remembers that transgender diverse people have been victims of homicide through the events begin back in, happens in many parts of the world. Visuals and usual held in the persons around the world, but due to the pandemic and various levels of lockdown restrictions, the community is expected to take social media to join together in grief and remembrance. The International Transgender Day of Remembrance was held on November 20, 2020. Okay. And we already know. We already know. And that's the report that's been reported. Now, if you've been following this channel, we already know. I've told you firsthand. Some reports I told y'all I have not reported because the family don't want their family member put out there like that. So it's personal reasons why I have not reported the deaths due to the family, out of respect of the family. Even though this girl was in the community or the guy was in the community, some family members do not want their family members posted online in reference to these murders or deaths. Personal reason. Excuse me, I have to drink some coffee because you know, this is the thing. I don't want to scare you, but I want to keep you awake. I want you to live your life. I want you to be fruitful. But the thing about it is, I don't want you to deal with fake reality. You know, and the thing about it, I could sit back and sing Kumbaya with you. Oh, everything's fine, girl. Everything's fine. And no one will know. And guess what's going to happen? The numbers will get bigger. The numbers will get bigger. More girls will be murdered. When is it enough? When is it enough? When is it enough? When is it enough? I get ridiculed, I get judged, I get attacked for trying to keep the girls and guys alive. I've told y'all tons of times, you have no idea what I go through behind the scenes. I can't share with you because remember, the enemy watches these channels and what I do as well. So keep in mind, even though you may feel as though I'm doing it, remember, other people hate me for what I'm doing. Other people feel as though that we should be killed and murdered. So by me doing these videos and doing these stories, I'm being attacked for trying to keep y'all alive. And I'm going to tell you, the biggest slap in the face is when the ones that look like me attack me for trying to keep other girls alive. Sure, maybe sometimes I may mispronunciate the word, but at the end of the day, it's the fact that somebody cared. So when you're a young person getting all up in your feelings, sometimes you need to humble yourself because somebody took out enough time to make sure you stayed alive. Because the one thing you can't undo is when somebody told you. And at the end of the day, you're going to do what you want to do anyway. But at the end of the day, don't say you wasn't taught or told. Because sometimes we get to be so hard-headed, we miss the message because we're so much in our feelings of being right. Oh, you disrespected my family. You said her name wrong. Do it all over. You disrespected my family member and she was a sex worker, a porn star. At the end of the day, she's dead. Let's start there. So before you ever part your lips or write something for me, you better think of the fact that somebody sat down and took enough time out to try to get the message out, to try to save other girls. That blood should be not written with a hashtag because she didn't know. So when you get in your feelings and you come for me on this page about me trying to say, humble yourself and just say, well, you know what, maybe you didn't do it right, or maybe you should just shut up and do nothing, or maybe you should sit down and just do your own page. Let's start there. And let me see what it's like to walk in the shoes of being Raven. Let me see what happens to you. Let's see how long you last. Because I've been doing this since April the 26th, 2008. And trust and believe it has not been a happy ride. Oh, you just doing this for clout. Clout. I want to do this for clout. To keep you alive is for clout for me. This has nothing to do with me. Nothing. Humble yourself. Be grateful that somebody took out the time to care enough for you. Because clearly you ain't care enough about another girl because you closing the door behind yourself and making sure the story don't get out. And you are responsible for another girl being murdered because you didn't share the story to help her be alive. Sometimes you may not like the message, but baby, you need to start listening to the delivery because these deaths are real. Death is final. Every family, every friend want their family members to come home. Sure, we don't get along. Sure, we don't get along, and we don't agree with a lot of things what the family members and friends do. But at the end of the day, we don't want them murdered. So stop closing the door behind you because you feel as though you ain't your feelings. Humble yourself, 2021. Be grateful that somebody took enough time out to help keep you alive. Anyway, like I said before, we already know the number is way higher than 350. And we talk about even in the U.S., like I said before, there's some deaths right about now I can't even report. But I'm just saying. And I told y'all before, I wasn't even going to be doing this no more. And someone said to me, it's not your plan, Raven, it's God's plan. God set you up to do this whole thing. And I'll take that, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm the reason why I want to step away because Raven don't want to be politically correct. And Raven started to get very angry when I feel as though I can't maintain myself with the professionalism, and when I'm not cursing and acting all kind of way, and my pressure's not going high, where I'm literally going in the hospital for it. I had to step away because at that point I'm using explicit words and I'm just acting out of character, and I want to maintain peaceful within myself. Like I said before. For the ones who do listen and the ones who do care, I love you. And I know it's a lot of y'all, so I don't want to overshadow the people who don't appreciate it. I love you all. Y'all know I do. Each and every one of you. Y'all been in my lives. Y'all been supportive and y'all all let me know. And y'all, I love you all. Especially ones who show out. Especially the allies. Especially the ones who don't come in alive that actually hit me up and say thank you. And the ones, I appreciate you all and I love you all. And I acknowledge you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Even the ones who are not trans, their allies, the females who assist the women, I thank you. Because a lot of people may not understand, but a lot of females are on this channel supporting the girls, whether girls know it or not, genetic females. And also genetic men that are in cisgender world. Allies. They have nothing to do with LGBT, but they don't like what's happening to us, and they're very supportive. In case y'all don't know, they're here too. They showed up, so thank you. I want to acknowledge that you are here. I don't give out names, but y'all all know how I am. I'm very protective of everyone, even though my face is platted over the place. At the end of the day, thank you all. Like I said before, share if you care. At the top, there's the Instagram button. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. Let you know I love you and thank you for watching. Catch the rain.